My name is Robert Adams. A changed character name. I work for a geological survey company. Our job often requires trips to remote areas to collect data. This time, I was assigned to go with Emily Roberts. A changed name. A new colleague who had recently joined my department. Emily is a young woman, seemingly a bit quiet and sensitive. Our business trip was to a secluded rural area in Louisiana, known for its vast swamps and long history. The survey work would last for a few days, so we needed to find a place to stay. Instead of choosing a regular hotel or motel, our manager rented an old house for us to stay in, saying it would be more convenient for traveling to the survey area, and also more cost-effective. The house was located deep in the countryside, far from the smallest town center. From the outside, it looked normal, an old wooden house with a wide porch typical of the South. But it was clearly old, the paint peeling, and looked a bit run down. When we first stepped into the house, I felt an unusual cold draft and a heavy atmosphere enveloping us. There was a smell of dampness, old decaying wood, and something hard to describe, like clay or mud. Even though we hadn't gotten close to the swamps yet, the light inside was quite dim, even with all the lights on. Emily also commented, "This house seems a bit old." Robert, I tried to sound optimistic. "Yeah, it is old, but I'm sure it'll be fine. We're only staying for a few days anyway." We quickly settled our luggage into 2 separate bedrooms. From the very first night, strange things began. Noises in the house, creaking floorboards not caused by our footsteps, faint clinking sounds from downstairs when we were upstairs, a feeling as if someone was walking around the house at night. I told myself, it's just an old house. But the stillness and isolation of the place made those noises more terrifying. Emily also seemed to be having trouble sleeping. I heard her tossing and turning, sighing in the room next door. That heavy atmosphere did not disappear. It lingered in the house. And our terrifying business trip had begun in an unexpected way. The first day working at the survey area went quite smoothly. We worked outdoors, collecting soil and rock samples. Emily worked very professionally, showing no signs of anything unusual. However, upon returning to the rental house in the late afternoon, the heavy atmosphere in the house seemed to become thicker. The small noises, the feeling of being watched, the unusual cold in certain fixed areas persisted, and I began to notice a change in Emily. At first, it was just small things. She became quieter, her gaze more distant. It seemed as if she was thinking about something very deeply. Then, she started forgetting small things. Forgetting where she had left her survey tools. Forgetting what she had said to me just a few minutes ago. That evening, while we were having dinner together in the kitchen, Emily suddenly stopped, staring into the void in the corner of the room. Her face showed fear and confusion. "Emily, what's wrong?" I asked. She blinked, as if waking from a trance. "Oh, nothing, Robert. I just feel a bit cold." But I felt it wasn't just feeling cold. It was fear. That night, the noises in the house were more intense. Footsteps upstairs were clear as if someone was walking around. The sound of a door gently opening. And I heard Emily talking in her sleep in the next room. Unclear mumbling. Her voice sounded very strange. Deeper than usual, and sometimes like a faint growl. On the second day of work, Emily seemed more tired. She was easily irritable, sometimes overreacting to small things. When we returned to the house, the change in Emily was more obvious. She huddled in a corner of the living room, staring at the empty wall. Her eyes were blank. "Emily, are you okay?" I asked, worried. She turned her head to look at me. Her eyes looked strange. Her pupils seemed dilated, and there was something distant, cold in that gaze. "I'm fine," she said, her voice flat, emotionless. But I knew she wasn't fine. Under the influence, Emily seemed to be influenced by something in this house. The heavy atmosphere was slowly taking over my colleague, and I began to feel truly scared. The third day of the business trip began with tension. I tried to keep Emily focused on work, but she seemed very tired and distracted. She often stared into space, sometimes mumbling irrelevant things. When we returned to the house in the afternoon, Emily's condition was much worse. She suddenly became angry for no reason. A simple comment from me would trigger an overreaction, screaming and throwing small objects in the living room. "What's wrong, Emily? Calm down," I tried to say, but she wasn't listening. Her eyes were wide open, looking at me as if I were a stranger. Her face was contorted with anger. But I felt something else, a cold wickedness hidden within. Then, the anger suddenly vanished, replaced by extreme fear. She huddled up, trembling, looking around as if seeing terrifying things I couldn't see. "Go away. Stay away. Don't come near," she whispered, her voice trembling, looking at an empty corner of the room. I felt a horrible cold draft radiating from her, or from the corner she was looking at. The noises in the house became more intense. Footsteps running frantically upstairs, doors slamming shut, sounds of a struggle from an empty room. And I started hearing whispers from the walls. Small voices, mumbling, unclear, seeming to come from the very walls of the house. The voice was not Emily's. It was a different voice. Deep, guttural, terrifying. It was the night of possession. I knew Emily was being possessed by something. And this house was where it was happening. Emily had moments of being completely different. Sometimes, she looked at me with the familiar face of my colleague. But only for a second. That look would change, becoming empty and cold. "Robert, help me," I heard Emily's weak voice say, mixed with the growl of the other voice. Then, her eyes looked straight at me again, with a malicious expression. "You cannot help it." The deep, guttural voice echoed from Emily's mouth. "It is mine now." I shivered violently. I knew I was facing something beyond my comprehension. My colleague, Emily, was possessed, and we were in a haunted house. The situation was getting worse. Emily was no longer Emily. She was completely controlled by something. The manifestations of possession became more terrifying than ever. She walked around the house with jerky, unnatural movements. Her voice changed constantly, sometimes a terrifying deep growl, sometimes a high-pitched child's voice, sometimes the voice of someone I didn't recognize. Her eyes, those eyes were now the eyes of the demon. Pupils wide and black, staring straight at me with hatred and contempt. She spoke things she couldn't possibly know. My small secrets, things I had never told anyone. "You are afraid," the deep voice said from Emily's mouth. "Afraid of loneliness, afraid of failure, afraid of being forgotten." Then the voice shifted to a high-pitched child's giggle, terrifyingly gleeful. "It's so weak. So fun to play with." I tried to keep my distance from her. I was afraid of her, afraid of the thing inside her, and afraid of this house. The phenomena in the house seemed to reach their peak. Noises as if dozens of people were in the house. Objects flying around chaotically. Black shadows constantly flitting before my eyes. The cold was so biting it felt like I was standing in the middle of winter. Emily, or the thing inside her, seemed to have unnatural strength. She could move objects with just a look, or make them shatter by themselves. She blocked all exits, Slammed doors shut. Locked all bolts. We were trapped in this house with that demonic entity. You cannot leave, the deep voice said. You are mine. I tried to find a way to escape, to contact the outside, but my phone had no signal. And the windows were shut tight or blocked by heavy objects. Michael was still working at the survey area. He didn't know how much danger I was in. I was left alone, facing my colleague, or rather, the demonic thing that possessed her. The eyes of the demon looked straight at me, and I knew that my fight for survival had just begun. Facing the demonic in this very rental house. In panic and despair, I tried to find out about this house. There must be a reason why it was so haunted that it attracted such evil and possessed Emily. I rummaged through old bookshelves, under the floorboards, searching for anything that could be a clue. Old diaries, property deeds, old newspaper clippings. Outside, the sound of Michael's truck engine echoed. He was back. I tried to scream, pounded on the window, but the demonic thing in Emily seemed to know. She, with unnatural strength, blocked the main door. I continued searching in a frenzy. And then, in a secret compartment under the stairs, I found an old, handwritten journal. It was the diary of a former owner of this house. From many years ago, each line recorded the person's gradual descent. They spoke of voices in their head, of feeling watched, of terrifying dreams. And then, the last entries recorded despair and an invitation. The person seemed to have deliberately opened a door, inviting an evil entity into this house. Perhaps to free themselves from pain or loneliness, or to seek power. The diary was vague, but it was enough for me to understand. This house wasn't just haunted. It was a place where a spirit had been invited in. It was a trap, where souls linger. That evil entity had been anchored here. And it seeks hosts. It seeks weak souls, those who are suffering from pain or loneliness. Like me. And perhaps, like Emily. The main door burst open. Michael entered the house, calling my name. In front of him was Emily, with the eyes of the demon, and a distorted face. Go, Michael, I screamed, my voice hoarse with fear. Run, don't come near. But it was too late. The evil thing in Emily turned to Michael. My fight for survival was not over. And now, Michael was also in danger. The old house, with its horrifying secret, had become an arena for a battle between life and death, between humans and a demonic entity, where souls linger, and perhaps, we were about to become a part of it. What happened next was a chaotic nightmare. The demonic thing in Emily attacked Michael. I don't dare describe the details, but it was a horrifying, violent, and inhuman scene. I had to get out of there at all costs. Seizing the opportunity while the demonic thing was focused on Michael, I rushed to the back door, trying to unlock it. Its terrifying laughter echoed in the house, along with sounds of a struggle and Michael's screams. I managed to open the back door and rushed outside. I gasped for fresh air. I ran frantically, without stopping, without looking back at the old house sinking into darkness and horrifying noises. I ran until I saw the first lights of the nearest town. I called the police, called for an ambulance. I told them everything. Even though I knew how crazy my words sounded. The police arrived at the old house. I didn't dare go back with them. I waited in fear. What the police found? Very little was made public. There was a lengthy investigation. Emily's condition wasn't clearly disclosed. Only that she needed special care. And Michael, the mark of the demon. The old house was sealed off. Local residents rarely mentioned it. My terrifying business trip ended in an unexpected way. I survived, but I was severely psychologically scarred. What I had witnessed, the voices, the eyes, the violence, it all haunted me relentlessly. I don't know if the demonic thing is still in Emily, or if it returned to the old house. I don't know if Michael is okay. That old house in Louisiana, with its secret of where souls linger, is still there. The haunting doesn't stop. I still have nightmares about that house. About Emily. About Michael. I feel the unusual coldness. The feeling of being watched. Even when I'm in a safe place. My story is a warning. Be careful about the places you visit. Especially old houses in remote areas. You never know what history lies there. And what doors have been opened. Inviting evil things from another world. If you enjoyed true horror stories, or stories based on accounts and mysterious locations, like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the channel to follow our latest videos. We will bring you more terrifying and haunting stories. Thank you for listening.